Hey guys, welcome to my newest video for today. Today's video is going to be another lot of what I've watched series. I've decided that rather than limit these videos just to 9 films, I'm going to try and condense them into two more series just to catch up on what I've watched in the last few months, because I've slowly realised just how many films I've actually watched in years, since May, and to be honest, I'm kind of getting a little tired of doing these videos because I'd rather be talking about the films that I've most recently watched so that they're more fresh in my mind, rather than trying to think back to the films I watched 3 months ago. So I'm probably just gonna try and get these done over the next 2 weeks, and then obviously focus on talking about the TV shows and that I've watched as well. But I'm hoping that I'll get these done into catch up in 2 videos rather than spread them out. So so with that, get straight into it. And the next film that I watched, or rather rewatched, Les Mis 25th. Yeah, I watched this one. This is one of the ones that I actually watched quite a few times over the past few months, as you can obviously tell. But I love it. It's great. And then in the lead up to going to see X-Men Days of Future Past a second time, I actually rewatched all the X-Men films. I watched it in years, so I went from X-Men through to the Wolverine. I love the X-Men films. I think out of the original trilogy, so to speak, X-Men 2 is still my favourite, but Days of Future Past is crept right up to it. So to be honest, I'd have to rewatch the whole series just to see where it ranks overall, because I have a feeling Days of Future Past has actually toppled X-Men 2 as my favourite X-Men film. But I still love X-Men 2, and actually the first X-Men film is actually pretty good as well, because I remember watching it back in April, because I had initially planned to do a rewatch while I was home where I had thing, but that didn't happen. I only ended up watching the first film. But then when I came back to college after the holidays, I had access to the films, so I decided to just watch them, because at that stage I'd already seen Days of Future Past and I wanted to go again, so I saw it as an excuse to just watch all the films. And I know a lot of people hate X-Men The Last Stand and Origins Wolverine, but to be honest, they're not, I don't think they're that bad. They're entertaining in their own right. They're not the best films ever made, but I've always liked them. And then, or at least I seem to like them more than what other people. But and the Wolverine I thought was actually a pretty solid action film that actually tied in, the last bit at the end tied in pretty well to Days of Future Past. So so that was what I did in the lead up to this, my second viewing of Days of Future Past. But probably when I get my Blu-ray of Days of Future Past, I will actually do another X-Men marathon, but that will probably be early next year. And then after that, I rewatched Phantom of the Opera, the 25th anniversary. Again, love it. It's as well, obviously based on the amount of times I actually rewatch these, you will know. And then I rewatched Game of Shadows, which because following my Sherlock Holmes rewatch. I love both Sherlock Holmes films. I used to think Game of Shadows I preferred, but when I rewatch the first one, I always think that one's better, and then but it's still a lot of fun, and I really want a third one, which apparently they are moving forward with, so yeah. And then after that I watched or rewatched Psycho, because I'd watched Hitchcock earlier, which I talked about. Yeah, Psycho's a great film. I can't believe it took me so long to even see it. But yeah, it's just great. Yeah, really good horror film. And then I rewatched Pitch Perfect, which I hadn't seen since I saw it at the cinema. Still just as good. Looking forward to Pitch Perfect 2, which, as far as I'm aware, is coming out next year as well. And then a film that I haven't seen, I watched Valkyrie with Tom Cruise, and I actually thought it was pretty good. Because I actually like Tom Cruise as an actor. Like, you know, I don't care much for his, you know, with the whole Scientology thing. I just try and disassociate that, and just try and watch his, like, you know, his films for what they are. And I actually don't think there's been a film where I haven't liked him in. And yeah, and I thought, yeah, Valkyrie was a very good like war film. Well, I guess you'd class it as war, because it's, you know, about the failed assassination attempt on Hitler, which was, or one of the failed assassination attempts, because I do believe there were more than one. But yeah, I thought it was very good. It was very well acted, and yeah, and so yeah, I did like Valkyrie. And then again, another film I hadn't seen before, and that was The Heat, with Melissa McCarthy and Sandra Bullock, and I actually enjoyed it. It was because I think I don't know, it worked for me, I think, because I'd heard mostly good things about it, and then I decided, you know, I was in the mood for a comedy, and then and yeah, it was yeah, I just love Melissa McCarthy in that movie. She was pretty funny, and I think she worked really well with Sandra Bullock, and that's what made the film. So yeah, that was The Heat. And then I rewatched Independence Day because, you know, it's a fun sci-fi action film, and I really don't know what to think about plans to do sequels to it, because in my opinion it really doesn't need sequels. It's fine just as a standalone, but you know, with Hollywood these days, they'll make sequels out of anything or remake anything, so yeah. And then continuing on with my Harry Potter rewatch, I watched Order of the Phoenix, because this one I always think I don't like, because I really hate Umbridge. I hate Umbridge in the books, and like most people. And I think because with this film, yeah, I know, I always think because that's why I don't like it, but then I watch it and I'm like, this is actually a good film. And I mean, like, Imelda Staunton, I think that's how you say her name. I mean, she does a really good job as Umbridge. Like, she makes you hate the character even more, if that's possible. And because pretty much Umbridge is my most hated fictional character, or one of them, because Joffrey's pretty much, I think, either tied for first or he's taken over. But yeah, so I always dread coming up to Order of the Phoenix, because I'm like, I really hate Umbridge, and then I watch it and I'm like, it's actually a really good film. So yeah, that's my little thing with Order of the Phoenix. But yeah, so, and then I rewatched Moulin Rouge, because I saw it for like the first time, it's like a year ago or so, because I had it on DVD. I think I watched my DVD copy of it, and then I sold my DVD and I rebought it on Blu-ray. And yeah, and I rewatched it because, yeah, I just love it. It's yeah, because yeah, again, it took one of the ones that took me so long to watch it, which is surprising because I love musicals, and I don't know why it took me so long to actually see this one, but I do love it. It's like really great. Like Ewan McGregor and Nicole Kidman, they work really well together, and I actually do enjoy this one. And then I again rewatched The Lone Ranger, which I actually liked. Possibly the last 45 minutes of the film is really what makes the movie, like when the crazy music starts with the train scene, because that part's amazing. But I still like it. It's, you know, it's one of those you don't take seriously at all. Yeah, I do actually like The Lone Ranger. And then I watched a film I hadn't seen before, and that was Judge Dredd. Which, you know, cheesy sci-fi. It was actually, yeah, it was just a lot of fun. It's, I mean, it was very different to Dredd, which I will get into in a second, but I liked it, so. And then I watched another film I hadn't seen before, and that was Uncle Buck with John Candy, because I really wanted to watch more films with John Candy, because the only film that I'd really seen him in was Spaceballs, and yeah, Uncle Buck was, yeah, it was pretty good, and yeah, it was, and yeah, John Candy was definitely good in this film, so there's still quite a few more I need to see of his, but I did like Uncle Buck, so. And then I rewatched Les Mis 2012, again, love it, and following that I rewatched The Avengers, again, loved it, considering the amount of times I've seen The Avengers. It's just one of those films that, you know, if I want to watch an action film, I'll just put it on for, and you know, that's a way to fill like 2.5 hours. You know, even though I've seen it like over a dozen times, like including the, you know, the 7 times I saw it at the cinema. So, and of course, you know, Avengers 2 comes out next year. So, and then after that, I rewatched Galaxy Quest. You know, it's great sci-fi comedy send-up of Star Trek. Yeah, I just love it. It's got so many quotable lines. One of my favourites is, well, actually the whole thing, when they're first on the, now I'm blanking on what the villain's name is in the film, like, when he's attacking them, like they're talking to him on the bridge, like when the actual crew's on there, and then he's like, guys, like, there's a green red thing heading for the green thing, I think, you know, where the green thing, yeah, I just love that whole bridge scene. You know, it's, surely you don't think Gilligan's Island is real. It's quotes like that I love, and yeah, the film's a lot of fun. And then going back to Judge Dredd, I rewatched Dredd, which I saw in the cinema, and it's a fantastic action sci-fi film. Very different tone to what Judge Dredd was, and I'm really hoping they do a sequel, which I don't know if it'll happen, but I would be down with the second Dredd film, because yeah, Karl Urban is just great in this film, and actually Lena Headey, I think, is that how you saying her name? She's also really good as the villain in this. Again, can't think of what her character's name was called, but like as the boss of the whole like building, Mama, I think that was her name. But yeah, she's great in this as well, so. And then a film that I hadn't seen before, LA Confidential, just a fantastic ensemble film. I actually, because it was funny, because I put it on because I was like looking for a film that I, out of what I brought with me that I hadn't seen before, and I was like, oh, I'll watch this, and then I didn't realise that James Cromwell was in it for starters, and then I was like, well, that's Russell Crowe, a very young Russell Crowe, but yeah, it was a very good film. Just trying to think back to, yeah, like I thought like it was really well acted, and yeah, I quite liked it. And then I again rewatched Les Mis, the 25th anniversary, followed by a rewatch of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, because yeah, because I felt like watching them well, and yeah, I quite like Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. It's a lot of fun. It's and this is quite catchy and that. So, and then I also rewatched The Avengers again. This is going to be like the last batch of films for this video. I rewatched Shaun of the Dead. Just great film. Horror comedy. I love Simon Pegg. So yeah, I decided to rewatch the Cornetto trilogy, so that's why I started with Shaun of the Dead, and then following my because I did Jesus Christ Superstar a couple of months ago. Like I finished it, and when it was like a couple of days after our final show, I was like, I'm going to more. I was like, I'm going to rewatch the film. So yeah, I chose to rewatch the 1973 Jesus Christ Superstar film. So yeah, and then I watched the next Harry Potter film, Half-Blood Prince. This one grades on me, I guess, each time I watch it. It's not particularly a favourite, but yeah, I watch it, and yeah. And then a film I hadn't seen before, and that was Body of Lies with Russell Crowe and Leonardo DiCaprio. I actually thought it was pretty decent. Yeah, and because I'm trying to watch as many Leonardo DiCaprio films as I can, and yeah, this one I hadn't seen, so it's like a very good I suppose you'd call it suspense thriller, because it's but yeah, I liked it. So, and then I rewatched Hot Fuzz, which I don't think is as good as Shaun of the Dead, but I still like it, because this was like the second time I'd seen it. But yeah, it's still a fun film. So, and Simon Pegg, Nick Frost. And following that, I actually rewatched Adventures of Tintin, which has them doing, which they actually do the voices of the policemen in that film. So, but I actually liked Adventures of Tintin because I hadn't seen it since I saw it at the cinema, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun, and I think there's also a sequel in the works. I'm not sure when that's coming out. I thought it was next year, but I think it's been pushed back. So but yeah, I will see that when it comes out. And then I watched Good Will Hunting for the first time, which it's just a great film, and of course had a very good performance by the late great Robin Williams. His performance in that was just incredible, and Now I'm like, because he did win the Oscar for that, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, he was just amazing in that film. And yeah, because I think it's like, it sort of shows just how a versatile actor he really was. Like, he could do comedy, he could do drama. It was like he could just cross over both genres, and yeah, it's very rare performance. And yeah, I was really obviously still unbelievable that he's actually gone, you know. He's kind of thought that you know, he'd be one of those ones that just live forever. And yeah, I mean, obviously I watched Good Will Hunting before he passed away, but yeah, it was still a great performance that he gave. So yeah, so after Good Will Hunting, I rewatched Inception, which it'd been a couple of years since I'd seen it, and yeah, it's still a great film after rewatching it. And yeah, so because it's again, you know, a film with Leonardo DiCaprio in it, but it's a really good ensemble film as well. And yeah, so, and then after Inception, I finished like off the Cornetto trilogy with The World's End, which because when I first saw it, last year, it was very different to what I thought it was going to be about. And when I think about it, it actually works. Like, it's quite a weird film, but it's still like, you know, it's got the yeah, it's still like, it's still funny, like, you know, and it's still like it. So because I don't know where, I think still Shaun of the Dead is my favourite out of the Cornetto trilogy, but I think it would go Shaun of the Dead, The World's End, and then Hot Fuzz. I mean, I love all three films, but yeah, I think that's just how I would rank them. So but yeah, so I'm gonna finish it there for like my films for this video, and then hopefully next week I will actually finish up with like the films that I've watched over the past few months, and then I can move on with the most recent films I've watched. So yeah, so I guess I will stop it here. Thank you guys for watching, and until my next video, I will see you guys next time. Bye.